It was a long journey to Malory Towers, but as there was a dining car on the train and the girls took it in turns to go and have their midday meal, that made a good break. They had tea on the train too. At first all the girls were chattery, but as the day wore on they fell silent. Some of them slept. It was such a long journey. It was exciting to reach the station for Malory Towers. The school lay a mile or two away, and there were big coaches standing outside the station to take the girls to the school. "Come on," said Alicia, clutching hold of Daryl's arm. "If we're quick, we can get one of the front seats in a coach beside the driver. Hurry! Got your bag?" "I'll come too," said Gwendolen, but the others were gone long before she had collected her belongings. They climbed up into front seats. "Can we see Malory Towers from here?" asked Daryl, looking all around. "No, I'll tell you when we can. There's a corner where we suddenly get a glimpse of it," said Alicia. "Yes, it's lovely to get that sudden view of it," said Pamela, the quiet head girl of North Tower, who'd got into the coach just behind Alicia and Daryl. Her eyes shone as she spoke. "I think Malory Towers shows at its best when we come to that corner, especially if the sun is behind it." Daryl could feel the warmth in Pamela's voice as she spoke of the school she loved. She looked at her and liked her. Pamela saw her look and laughed. "You're lucky, Daryl," she said. "You're just beginning at Malory Towers. You've got terms and terms before you. I'm just ending. Another term or two, and I shan't be coming to Malory Towers any more, except as an old girl. You make the most of it, while you can." "I shall," said Daryl, and stared ahead, waiting for her first glimpse of the school she was to go to for at least 6 years. They rounded a corner. Alicia nudged her arm. "There you are, look! Over there on that hill. The sea is behind, far down the cliff, but you can't see that, of course." Daryl looked. She saw a big, square-looking building of soft grey stone standing high up on a hill. The hill was really a cliff that fell steeply down to the sea. At each end of the gracious building stood rounded towers. Daryl could glimpse 2 other towers behind as well, making 4 in all. North Tower, South, East and West. The windows shone. The green creeper that covered parts of the wall climbed almost to the roof in places. It looked like an old-time castle. "My school," thought Daryl, and a little warm feeling came into her heart. "It's fine. How lucky I am to be having Malory Towers as my school home for so many years. I shall love it." "Do you like it?" asked Alicia impatiently. "Yes, very much," said Daryl, "but I shall never know my way about. It's so big." "Oh, I'll soon show you," said Alicia. "It's surprising how quickly you get to know your way around." The coach turned another corner, and Malory Towers was lost to sight. It came into view again, nearer still round the next corner, and it wasn't very long before all the coaches roared up to the flight of steps that led to the great front door. "It's just like a castle entrance," said Daryl. "Yes," said Gwendolen unexpectedly from behind them. "I shall feel like a fairy princess going up those steps." She tossed her loose golden hair back over her shoulders. "You would," said Alicia scornfully, "but you'll soon get ideas like that out of your head when Potty gets going on you." Daryl got down and was immediately lost in a crowd of girls all swarming up the steps. She looked around for Alicia, but she seemed to have disappeared. So up the steps went Daryl, clutching her small bag and racket, feeling rather lost and lonely in the chattering crowd of girls. She felt in quite a panic without the friendly Alicia. After that, things were rather a blur. Daryl didn't know where to go, and she didn't know what to do. She looked vainly for Alicia, or Pamela, the head girl. Was she supposed to go straight to North Tower? Everyone seemed to know exactly what to do and where to go, except poor Daryl. Then she saw Miss Potts and felt a wave of relief. She went up to her, and Miss Potts looked down, smiling. "Hello, feeling lost? Where's that rascal of an Alicia? She ought to look after you. All North Tower girls are to go there and unpack their night bags. Matron is waiting for you all." Daryl had no idea which way to go for North Tower, so she stood by Miss Potts waiting. Alicia soon reappeared, accompanied by a crowd of girls. "Hello," she said to Daryl. "I lost you. These are all girls in our form, but I won't tell you their names just now. You'll only get muddled. Some are North Tower girls, but some belong to the other houses. Come on, let's go to North Tower and see Matron. Where's darling Gwendolen?"
"Alicia," said Miss Potts, her voice stern, but her eyes twinkling. "Give Gwendolen a chance."
"And Sally Hope, where's she?" said Alicia. "Come on, Sally." "All right, Miss Potts, I'll take them along to North Tower and nurse them a bit." Sally, Gwendolen and Darryl followed Alicia. They were in a big hall that had doors leading off on either side and a wide staircase curving upwards. "The assembly hall, the gym, the lab, the art rooms and the needlework room are all on this side," said Alicia. "Come on, we'll cross the court to get to our tower."
Darryl wondered what the court was. She soon found out.
Malory Towers was built around a large oblong space called the court. Alicia took her and the others out of a door opposite the entrance they'd come in by, and there lay the court surrounded on all sides by the buildings. "What a lovely place," said Darryl. "What's that sunk piece in the middle?"
She pointed to a great circle of green grass sunk a good way below the level of the court. Round the sloping sides of the circle were stone seats. It looked like an open-air circus ring, the ring sunk low, and the stone seats rising up around it, Darryl thought.
"That's where we act plays in the summer," said Alicia. "The players perform in the ring, and the audience sit around on those stone seats. We have good fun."
Round the sunk circle on the level was a beautifully set-out garden, with roses and all kinds of flowers planted there. Green lawns, not yet cut by the gardeners, were set between the beds.
"It's warm and sheltered in the court," said Darryl. "It's too hot in the summer," said Alicia, steering them all across the court to the opposite side. "But you should see it in the Easter term. When we come back in January, leaving our own homes in frost and maybe snow, we find snowdrops and aconites and primroses blooming in all the beds here in the sheltered court. It's gorgeous. Well, look at the tulips coming out here already, and it's only April."
At each end of the hollow oblong of buildings was a tower. Alicia was making for North Tower. It was exactly like the other three, 4 stories high. Alicia stopped short just outside.
"On the ground floor there's our dining hall, our common rooms where we go when we're not in class, and the kitchens. On the second floor are the dormies where we sleep, dormitories, you know. On the third floor are more dormies, and on the top floor are the bedrooms of the staff and the box rooms for our luggage." "Each house is the same, I suppose," said Darryl as she looked up at her tower. "I wish I slept right at the top there in the tower itself. What a lovely view I'd have."
Girls were going in and out of the open door at the bottom of North Tower.
"Buck up," they called to Alicia. "Supper's in a few minutes' time, something good by the smell of it." "We always get a jolly good supper the day we arrive," said Alicia. "After that, not so good. Cocoa and biscuits, something like that. Come on, let's find Matron."
Each of the tower houses had its own matron, responsible for the girls' health and well-being. The matron of North Tower was a plump, bustling woman, dressed in starched apron and print frock, very neat and spotless. Alicia took the new girls to her.
"3 more for you to dose and scold and run after," said Alicia with a grin.
Darryl looked at Matron, frowning over the long lists in her hand. Her hair was neatly tucked under a pretty cap, tied in a bow at the back.
She looked so spotless that Darryl began to feel very dirty and untidy.
She felt a little scared of Matron and hoped she wouldn't make her take nasty medicine too often. Then Matron looked up and smiled, and at once Darryl's fears fell away. She couldn't be afraid of a person who smiled like that, with her eyes and her mouth and even her nose too. "Now let me see, you're Darryl Rivers," said Matron, ticking off her name on a list. "Got your health certificate with you? Give it to me, please. And you're Sally Hope?"
"No, I'm Gwendolen Mary Lacey," said Gwendolen.
"And don't forget the Mary," said Alicia pertly.
"Dear Gwendolen Mary."
"That's enough, Alicia," said Matron, ticking away down her list. "You're as bad as your mother used to be. No, worse, I think." Alicia grinned.
"Mother came to Malory Towers when she was a girl," she told the others. "She was in North Tower too, and Matron had her for years. She sent you her best love, Matron. She says she wishes she could send all my brothers to you too. She's sure you're the only person who can manage them."
"If they're anything like you, I'm very glad they're not here," said Matron. "One of the Johns family at a time is quite enough for me.
Your mother put some grey hairs into my head, and I'm sure you've done your bit in adding a few more." She smiled again. She had a wise, kindly face, and any girl who fell ill felt safe in Matron's care. But woe betide any pretender, or any lazy girl, or a careless one. Then Matron's smile snapped off, her face closed up, and her eyes glinted dangerously. A big gong boomed through North Tower. "Supper," said Matron. "Unpack your things afterwards, Alicia. Your train was late and you must all be very tired. All first formers are to go to bed immediately after supper tonight."
"Oh, Matron," began Alicia, groaning. "Can't we just have 10 minutes after—"
"I said immediately, Alicia," said Matron. "Go along now. Wash your hands quickly and go down. Hurry." And in 5 minutes' time, Alicia and the others were sitting down, enjoying a good supper. They were hungry. Darryl looked round at the tables. She was sure she would never know all the girls in her house, and she was sure she would never dare to join in their laughter and chatter either. But she would, of course, and very soon, too.